Hi, I'm so excited about today's video because one of you guys recommended a channel to me and I have been doing some binge watching. Not gonna lie. It's oh my goodness gracious. What a terrific channel. Anyway, the viewer that shared with me this YouTube channel, his name is Gentle Giants 1974. So thank you, Gentle Giants 1974, for recommending Dry Creek Wrangler School. I watched the video that you suggested, and then I watched like a dozen more, and I chose this one that I'm going to share with you all because I just think it speaks to the core of what we talk about on this channel. So welcome back to Far From Eden. I think I forgot to say that already. This is Lola here. She is quite extra today. She is my co-host and boss, and she reminds me to ask you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with your favorite feminist. Actually, this one would be a really good one to share with your favorite feminist because I don't understand how the feminists and the left can get so angry when they see a man like Dwayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School. He is an American man, and the left and feminists, and I mean, it's all the same, right? They want to say that men are misogynistic if they want, a traditional lifestyle with a real wife who, contributes to the family in the way that a woman can and I believe should. Then it's, oh, you're hateful. How are you going to look at this man and say that? And that's the thing. They like to put up these like the Madison Square Garden rally, right? They want to say, oh, those guys are all Nazis. And it was a Nazi rally because in 1939, there was a Nazi rally there. So therefore, because it happened in Madison Square Garden, the same venue, which I think it's not even the same exact arena. I think it's moved a few times over the years, but details, right? Does that mean like the New York Knicks? Does that mean when I went and saw Billy Joel there that was, I didn't know that I was at a Nazi rally? Like, it's ridiculous, right? They want to hate. They want to hate. And the thing is, the video I was planning to do before I discovered Dwayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School, I was going to make a video about the left versus the right and how it's men versus women and how there is such hate and vitriol towards men. Not only are men just kicked to the side, like your wants are not important, your struggles are not important, in fact, they're your fault, etc. But they really seem to despise you. Things like the future is female. I'm not saying that this is the majority of people, but there are women, and I have to word this strategically, there are women who will post online that they have had a procedure to eliminate the growing life inside of their body, and they will say the reason is because it was male. I have seen this. It's just, so I was going to make that video, and I probably will. It's not like it's going to be over November 5th. I think we all know this is going to continue, in fact, maybe even heighten. So it's probably best that instead we go to Dwayne's ranch and sit down inside his barn and listen to his wisdom. He is what we would call here in America salt of the earth. And like I said, this is masculinity. This is alpha. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of man that led America and led the West to be what it is. This man is not hateful. He's not a tyrant. He's not a Nazi. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the mindset of these hateful people filled with vitriol on the left, thinking that, trying to say that men are oppressors and that men want to, chain women up in the kitchen, etc. Let's watch Dwayne. The video I chose is entitled "Thoughts on Becoming a Proper Kind of Man." And I think there's a huge deficit in fathers like Dwayne. I think a lot of us Gen Xers, some of us had fathers like this, but millennials, many of you did not. Gen Z, goodness gracious, you're probably, this is going to be like seeing, a two-headed dog or something. You've never seen this before. This is going to be like a character in a movie, especially if you live in the city. So, thoughts on becoming a proper kind of man. And I liked it because you guys know me. If you've watched this channel long enough, you guys know that I'm constantly trying to learn about you guys. I never want to get to the point where I'm like, oh, I understand what you go through. Oh, I get it. I understand men. I don't want to get to that point, because that's the point where I'm complacent and I'm then prideful and haughty in it. And it's something that I try to guard. So that's another reason why I got so excited to see this man. Also, you guys know there's a couple other guys that I have learned a lot from on YouTube that have YouTube channels. And without calling anybody out, you guys know who I'm talking about. This man is a Christian. This man has raised 7 children. 7. So I'm just enamored. Not in a romantic way, you guys. So, here we go.
Good morning. Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. It's September 4th, the first day of classes for this fall session. So we wanted to make a video before we got too busy and make sure we keep content up. We started to make one out under the tree this morning, but it started raining again, which we are not complaining. We've needed rain so bad. It rained all night last night, and it's raining this morning. So we moved into the barn in here this morning. Mom.
Okay. You might think, well, why did she leave this in? Why did I leave this in? Because there are still people out there that think about things like when it rains and what a blessing that is and how much you needed it. Growing up on ranches and farms and stuff like that, even though I don't live on a ranch or a farm anymore and I don't take care of livestock, I still have the mentality that when it rains, I think about how long it's been since we had rain. I think about the grass. It's just a different mindset, and it's different. You become grateful for things that city folk tend to take for granted. I often talk about the difference in this modernity we live in and how many of us are separated from nature and, food growing from the ground. Sorry, the table. Livestock grazing in the fields, keeping them safe. We're so detached from all of that. And so the introduction to his video talking about, well, we were outside, but then it rained, went into the barn, and Mama said it was rustic. Mama is what he calls his wife. Because obviously they raised 7 children. And when you're actually raising kids, not just shipping them off to, daycares and stuff like that, when you're actually raising them, you're going to call the wife what the kids are calling her to teach them. So you're just going to be calling her Mama. And I just love that. It feels like coming home. Listening to this man feels like coming home. And I realize that a lot of y'all don't have, a rural background or whatever. but it's all inside of us, right? You were made from the earth, and we were made from your rib. But this is home, this connection to, yeah, we've needed this rain. It's important. And I hope that you can understand what I'm trying to convey with that. Because I think this is, well, I can't say what feeds your soul or what protects your peace, but this kind of thing, feeling connected again to the things that matter, to nature, to rain, it's important. And it seems so flippant in modernity, in modern life, with, oh, traffic, oh, my boss, oh, this. But I think that's intentional. I think the overlords want us focused on all those things, disconnected from our creator. Anyways, so I'm gonna let him continue. Sorry.
Mama says it's okay, it's rustic. And so speaking of Mama, we are almost to 100,000 subscribers. We're at 91,600 something right now. And at the rate that it's climbing, in just a few days here, by the time it's time to do the next video, we'll be at 100,000. So Mama came up with the idea that for that video, she's going to sit with me and we'll do a video together. And I'm going to hold her to it. I'm not going to let her get out of this one. She's got to do it now. And so in between now and then, in the comments, is there anything you'd like to know? Is there anything in particular you'd like to ask Mama? You'd like to know Mama's side of things.
And that video is up on his channel, by the way. That's another thing, is that this video, I think, is the one that we're watching, is like 2 years old. So his channel has grown immensely, and he's got another channel as well. I'm going to try to remember to put the links to both of those channels and the link to this original video in the description. So y'all can go check it out if you want to see more of what Dwayne has to say.
Or anything else. And if there's much there, then we'll sort through it and come up with some subjects, some questions, and ask them for you or answer them for you. Cigar this morning.
All right, so we're going to skip through the cigar because he's going to talk about the cigar and the tobacco in it. And it's not that I'm skipping it because I'm like so against it. It's just that.
And I'm positive across the line.
So here we go.
And there's a lot of young people on there that are getting on and commenting, and they're just lost. They're just lost. And a lot of young men are realizing that they've been sold a bill of goods, and they haven't been prepared for life. And some not so young men are waking up too. And I've been asked a number of times, what's some advice I could give for young men? And so this morning, I want to give 5 things that you could start developing in your life to become a man among men, to become that man that you need to be and that the world around you needs you to be. Okay. And I'm going to start out. Now, this first one is going to sound so vanilla. All right. So tapioca, so light, so nothing on the surface. But it's not. You need to work on being a good man. Now, before you throw your hands up, there are a lot of people out there that don't know what it means to be a good man. Especially, I'm going to kick over a hornet's nest here, especially in the deeply religious world. They don't know what it means to be a good person. Listen to me. The absence of evil is not an automatic indication of the presence of good. All right? I'm going to say that again. The absence of evil is not an automatic indication of the presence of good. You've got negative, you have positive, and you have neutral. Neutral is there's no negative, but there's no positive either, which means it's a big zero. You remember studying in school negative and positive numbers? All right. Picture that graph you looked at on the page. There's -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we say down here on the negatives, Dwayne, I don't do drugs, and I don't abuse women, and I don't steal from people, and I don't do this, and I don't do that. And so they do away with all the negatives, but they don't do anything positive. Congratulations.
I think that's so true. And you guys, we talk about this on the channel all the time, like all these church guys, and how, frankly, how so many of them are weak and masculinity has been just drained out of those men. And that, what he's talking about, really reminds me of that. Also reminds me of, I know growing up, going to church, they talk about being lukewarm, you know, and this reminds me of that too. I think this might seem overly simple to you guys, but I think that's just the key, is that it really is. Sometimes I think as humans, we overcomplicate things. And sometimes you got to go to like an old cowboy to just keep it simple. And you go, oh, yeah, it is that simple. And we get all tangled up because we make things more complicated than they really need to be, right?
That person's a big zero. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Being good is proactive. It's doing something. It's and you don't have to go and volunteer in India at an orphanage, or haul bags of rice to Africa. Uh, it's just caring about people. All right. That poor, beleaguered cashier at Walmart with the tired eyes and the swollen ankles, just look her in the eye and ask her, how are you doing today? Just somebody actually cares. You know, we talk about holding the door. Well, somebody stops on the side of the road. Your neighbor down the road is in a difficult place and they can't get their yard mowed. The old lady across the street, the old gentleman across the street, it snows. Just take your shovel and go over and shovel their sidewalk.
I'll also say, for a lot of you guys, you're like, no one has ever shown me that kind of kindness. No one has ever, you know, and I get it. And there's a lot of you that will also say, well, I'm not going to hold a door for a woman, and I'm not going to. Fair enough. You can do it for a man, and you can find a man who's a cashier somewhere. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you, I'm not a man. I haven't dealt with what you guys have dealt with and are dealing with. But sometimes when I've been kind of down and out with the multiple sclerosis and really, you know, depressed about it. Sorry, that beep scared me from my computer. Been depressed about it. A lot of times doing something for someone else has fed my soul. And it's almost like you feel guilty because you're like, gosh, I'm doing something for somebody else and it's making me feel better. But it really does. When you do something just small, you check on somebody, you mow somebody's lawn, you know, ask them, are you okay? And it means something to them, it comes back to you. And I don't mean it comes back to you like good things will happen to you and a karma, and I don't believe in any of that. But it touches you. And so sometimes you have to offer the thing a little bit that you've never been offered. Like, hey, are you doing all right? Kind of a thing. And it's just, I have found it to be very calming. And it's sort of, when you give that thing to someone else, that bit of care, then when you give that which you have not been given, it does something, because God works like that. I just realized I forgot my flower. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to beat this flu bug and I'm doing good with the zinc, but you know, certain things are so silly. Anyways, let's get back to Dwayne.
Just somebody at work, you watch and you look, and people at work, they're going through a hard time. Just, hey, are you all right? Anything I can do to help? Just in your life, be an agent for good. It's kind of like people say, I support the troops. I support the troops. What do you do for the troops? Do you send them care packages? No. Do you walk up to them when you see them in a restaurant, in the airport in uniform, and do you stick your hand out and say, thank you for your service? No, I don't do anything, but I support the troops. No, that just means you're not against the troops. And going through life, become a good man or woman. All right. Now that's a lifetime right there of study. Okay. But start working on that. Second, be a dangerous man. Now, being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. All right. And it's not about going out and lifting weights and getting a bunch of tattoos and wearing leather jackets and walking around with your chest and shoulders up, hulking around saying, I'm dangerous. That's very rarely is that a dangerous man.
Right?
Often the most dangerous man in the room is the quietest man in the room. When we were in Wyoming, this last trip, I was talking to the neighbor behind me. The manager of all this grazing land, ranch land. And across the road, he and his wife had just a few head of sheep. Not very many, 10 or 12. And we were talking about, and he was talking about this is here and this is over here. And he said, "No, I don't recommend you go over and check out the sheep." He has one of those Great Pyrenees dogs over there. He said that dog doesn't know you, and he might eat you up, protecting those sheep. Now, sat there for a couple days and watched. That dog was dangerous. All right. But that dog did not sit on the hillside up with his head up and his hair flowing in the wind like some kind of lion, telling the whole world I'm dangerous. He wasn't down at the road down there barking at everything come by, says I'm dangerous.
No.
He was just with the sheep, and he was not a danger to the sheep. The lambs and the ewes and everything come around and go in around amongst him and everything, and they were perfectly 100% safe.
And those dogs, those Great Pyrenees dogs, they know who is in their herd that they watch over. So they're trained, and their instinct anyway, they're like already programmed instinctually to know this is my herd. And so anything coming into this space, into these, amongst these that I protect, will not be leaving in the same shape that it came in. We used to have a couple Great Pyrenees just on our property because, you know, you get coyotes and you get kinds of things that come in, and those Great Pyrenees will take care of it. And I love that he's using this as an example because they're huge, but they don't look scary, so to speak. You know, you're not looking at like what people would say a Rottweiler looks scary or a German Shepherd looks scary. I personally am not really scared of big dogs, but you know what I mean? Like the same sort of look. They don't have that. They are quiet, just like he is saying. It's a great analogy.
And when they were all down in there and down in the middle of the day and kind of gathered up and resting, he's out under a shade tree out there somewhere. He's resting too. He's not telling everybody how dangerous he is. Right. In fact, from a distance, if you look down there, he looked like the sheep, about the same size, big old white, woolly. You couldn't tell him from the sheep. But you go down there and he thinks you're trying to harm one of the sheep. It's a different story. He's dangerous. Listen, you cannot. If we tie this into the earlier point, be a good man. You can't be a good man, a fully good man, if you're not a dangerous man. All right. To be good is to do good to people, and sometimes doing good to people is protecting those people.
The overlords don't like this attitude because they don't want you to think like that. They want you to go ahead and call 911, get the authorities on the phone, and then they'll come. But we all know that when seconds count, police are minutes away. especially when you live out in the middle of nowhere. It's just ridiculous, right? Can you imagine like a group of coyotes comes in trying to attack your sheep, and what are you going to do? Like the Great Pyrenees is not going to say, well, hold on, let me get the German Shepherd on the phone so he can come out. Like, no. The overlords have, and this is purely my take, this is not Dwayne saying this, the overlords have tried to remove the masculinity from men that this man clearly has, and that he is saying to be a good man, you have to be a dangerous man so you can protect your people, right? They don't want that because they want you looking to the state for all of that. They want you looking to the police for that. They want you to look to the government to protect you, like from the cooties, from the 2020 cooties. You don't know what to do. You can't protect yourself. You don't, like, look, the government knows better. The police know better. Trust the experts, right? And I use the 2020 thing because it's just such a great example of the whole thing, but it doesn't have to be about the cooties, that they were telling us that was gonna just, everybody was gonna pass away from. It could be anything. It can be a stranger trying to get into your house. It could be somebody trying to steal your identity, whatever it is. But like, to have a patriarch of a family that is this is not what the overlords want. So.
It's protecting those people, protecting those around us. All right. These days I'm a laid back, mellow, middle-aged fella, and I kind of talk slow and easy, and I move slow and easy. All right. But you say one disrespectful thing to my wife in my presence, or I get a phone call from one of my daughters crying. I am not only willing, but I am able to inflict great bodily damage, and I will do so. I'm not a danger to those around me. I'm not a danger to the sheep. But you need to be a dangerous man. Look up, there's a guy on the internet, and he's on YouTube, and he discusses this. He's much smarter than I am. He discusses this much better. Jordan Peterson. And he talks about this a whole lot more eloquently than I can. All right. But you need to, first off, you need to get a mindset. Look, I'm not a sheep. I'm taking care of those that it's a willingness and a mindset. And then you work on the physical side of it. All right. Start losing some weight, start going to the gym, start learning some things. And fellas, if you are not willing and able to some degree to protect the family that you have started, you don't have a right to have a family.
Wow. That is big talk. And I just want to add here, again, this is me talking, not Dwayne. I believe that in exchange for what a man like Dwayne provides, that sort of protection, he gets things in return. His wife is probably not having soft life, right? So before all the MRAs come at me and say, oh my gosh, you just want tradition where the woman's on a pedestal and the man has to do the providing and the man has to do the protection. There are a lot of men who, when they have a true family, a wife who actually submits, cares, respects, all the rest of it, has birthed 7 children and raised them with you. There are men who take great pride, the good kind of pride, of protecting that, of being that Great Pyrenees. Like, these are my sheep. You will not harm a hair on their head, a wool on their head. I don't know, but you just won't. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. And again, The overlords, the media, all that, they've tried to vilify masculinity. They've tried to lie to all of us and say that, oh, if you're masculine, then it's toxic. And if, you know, if you say things like this man is saying, then it's hateful, it's misogynistic. How dare you say that I need a protector, blah, blah, blah. They want to say that, but they never show you these type of guys. They never do. They turn it into some, you know, caricature in a movie. You know, they push Andrew Tate in your face and they say that's what it looks like. No, it doesn't. He's not at all like what a masculine man is, and this is. So, but I mean, I don't know that Andrew Tate has been chosen to be that the face of, you know, masculinity or whatever, so that we all recoil and go, oh no, we don't want that. But I mean, it would serve their purpose if he was. I'm not saying that he is. I don't have any knowledge of that. And it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. These are the types of men that, especially in modern age, they don't show these types of men. I mean, y'all, doesn't he remind you a little bit of Sam Elliott? Like Sam Elliott from like back when he was in the Sackets, which was that the 80s, the 70s. There were still sort of men like this back then, but I bet you if I rewatched any of those old movies, I'd see all the propaganda and all the hidden feminism and stuff in there. But this is the type of fathering that they don't want people to have. Because when we live this way, we don't depend on state and all of that as much. And we don't become the consumers that they want us to be. And we don't have the big careers and pay more taxes like they want us to. When we live simply, when we live more off the land, when we depend on ourselves, when we have nuclear families and stick with them and grow them and make that our priority, it reduces the power of corporations, the state, all of that whole oligarchical system that we have. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist all day long, and I will say, yep, I'm a conspiracy factist. Because it's not a theory when it's true.
That's my opinion. That's Dwayneism, okay?
Dwayneism.
You don't have a right to have that family. So study. These are things I'm just giving you to start, and you research, okay? Be dangerous. Third, be educated. Listen, you want to know how to be a man among men? You start following and reading and listening to guys like Jocko Willett, Jordan Peterson, these guys, and start learning. Start reading. And just the brain is a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you work it, the stronger it becomes. I've talked about reading on here before. It's hard. Mama laughs at me all the time. I cannot multitask. I get to talking and I completely forget about my cigar. I only do one thing at a time. All right. Become educated. All right. And I don't mean going to college. I'm not knocking college. All right. But become educated. Learn to do things. Learn what's going on around you. But go through life learn something new. Okay. Become educated, and become educated and better with your vehicles. Educated, of course, in our line of work, what we're doing, educated with horses, you're always learning. You're always growing. You're always reading. We've got two young men here, apprentices we got here, and one of these young men, he's always reading. He's always, Dwayne, do you recommend a book on this? Do you know of a book on this? And he asked me the other day, and I said, well, I recommend this book here by this fella. He says, oh, I already have that one. And I have the sequel that he wrote to it after that. And these weren't novels. But he's just always learning, always growing. All right. Just become educated. Thirdly, be calm. Be calm.
I love this.
All right. Now, Mama's grinning behind the phone. A lot of people talk on the channel about how calm and level I am. Look, this is not the me that used to be. And it's we look and at these comments and talking about how lucky your children were to be raised by you. My children were not raised by the me that is today. It's a journey. All right. I was a hot-headed, scratchy old fella. I just didn't know any better. All right. Had a lot of stuff outside of family in my life that was causing tremendous amounts of stress, and I was bringing it home, and I was not calm. You need to just be calm. Just be calm. Well, Dwayne, how do I be calm? Get rid of the things that don't let you be calm. All right. If you come in and you watch the news every night and it just agitates you, turn the dang news off. They're lying to you anyhow. It's inevitable. Nothing you can do about it. Turn it off. You got people in your life that are just people of constant conflict, people of melodrama, just people that are always stirring the pot. They're not happy unless the pot is stirred. Just walk away.
Yeah.
I have friends, old friends, family. I just walked away. And I guard my calmness. We have a deal here. We have Sunday night. Everybody comes in, and so we lay out the rules. Rule number one, every class, do not disturb Dwayne's calm. All right? Just calm. Find things that will make you calm. Cigar? Okay. Calm music. Listen, if you got a stressful job that you don't like, that you're not proud of doing, and you are slamming Mountain Dews and Dr. Peppers and sweet teas or whatever, jacked up on sugar, I used to drink a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper and 2 big tall glasses of sweet tea every day.
Oh my
And
God.
then go to heavy stress construction jobs and stuff. And along with the other things in my life, I stayed jacked up. Just quit. Cut that stuff down. Cut it out. All right. And if you do that, and then you've got cranking, driving music on your radio to work, that stuff just gets your heart rate going and gets you going. So you wake up of a morning, you got a job you hate, you don't like, you don't want to go to. You slam some sugar breakfast down. You grab you a Mountain Dew or a Coke or a Dr. Pepper on the way to work, and then you crank up some hard driving music, and you come screeching or roaring into your job, and you get out and go in, and it's machines and everything else going, and people are not happy, and people don't want to be there and whatnot. Goodness gracious, it's no wonder you're about to blow a gasket.
Yeah, before you can protect your peace, you have to have your peace. And I think everything he's saying is so important, especially for men, because you guys are the ones that are in such high pressure situations when you have people relying on you, right? And you're in all of these, jobs and the pressure jobs where they're dangerous. Very few women are in jobs that are dangerous. So I hope that this is helpful to you, what he is saying, because I don't think we realize the choices that we make that contribute to the storm inside of our minds, right? Because I think sometimes we are living in this chaos and we're living in the storm, and we almost try to drown it out with more storm, and it just doesn't work. So this is just so helpful. It's helpful to me because I think I'm guilty of this too. And I certainly don't have the type of stress. If he was raising 7 kids and working a construction job, and golly, I cannot imagine what that's like to have that giant family that's depending on you to take care of them. So this man knows of what he speaks, that's for sure.
Make some major changes in your life. Change that music. You listen to country music. Well, there's a lot of country music these days that to me is not very country. But instead of listening to, Brantley Gilbert, Learn to appreciate some Emmylou Harris. Okay? Find beauty and calm and kind of tone down on the drums and the screaming guitars a little bit. Cut down on the sugar and the caffeine. And there's people in your life that just draw away. Just draw away. You need to be calm. And then when the inevitable conflict comes up, and it will because this is life, go into it calm. Go into your conflict calm. Because if you're calm, you're thinking, you're logical, you're level headed. When you get mad, all logic and reason goes out the window. Okay? So be calm. Learn to read books that are just put you in a perspective state of mind. All right. So be calm. And lastly, be wise. Now, wisdom, it's a lifetime of study. Wisdom is. And wisdom's not what you know. Wisdom is knowing how to apply what you know. You know, the saying is wisdom is knowing that tomato is officially classified as a fruit. That's knowledge. Knowledge is knowing that wisdom is officially. Let me try again. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is classified as a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. You don't have to open your mouth and dump out everything that's going on in your brain. You don't have to tell people everything you know. You know, there's two sides of that calm thing. There's the people who stir things up around you. But there's the times we go around and we tell tales and we agitate. Hey, I heard this. I heard this. Did you hear this? And they're stirring stuff up. Be that quiet man. Be that quiet man in the corner. All right. You got something to say that's good, beneficial, helpful, or properly corrective at the proper time, then say it. Otherwise, be wise. All right. Talking all the time about everything to everybody. That's not an indication of the wise.
Mm-mm.
All right. So now these are just some things just to think about and to help. And it's a journey. It's a journey. All right. You start where you are today and you say, I wish I was that man right there. But I'm not. And I don't mean that particular person. I mean that kind of man. I wish that is the kind of man that I was. Well, it might be a long journey to get to that man. But start. Work at it all the time. Make sacrifices. And the other thing is, you've heard the saying, fake it till you make it. You see that man right there, and you want to be that man right there, pretend to be that man right there. Listen to me. Pretend to be that man right there. Inside, you say, you know, I'm not really that man. I'm going to act calm. I'm going to pretend like I'm that calm man. But I don't feel like I am that calm man, but I'm going to act calm and I'm going to pretend to be calm. Then are you not calm? Do you not become calm through that process?
You do.
All right.
You do.
Act like, but see and picture. Listen, if you don't have a destination, how do you know when you've arrived? And how do you know how to get there if you don't know where you're going? Sit down and figure out, what kind of man do I want to be? And then begin the journey. But just this country and the people around you need good men, good,
Amen.
effective men.
Amen. Amen.
We have enough neutrals. We have enough people running around out there that let's be completely honest. Let's be completely honest. If you were to leave this world tomorrow, would you leave a hole? If you were to leave this world tomorrow, would you leave a hole? Become the man that leaves a big hole when you leave this world.
And, you know, I thought about that last part that he just said. And I think I worry about you guys, and I worry about if you think, well, I wouldn't leave a hole, I guess there's no point in me being here, etc. And I'm like, you know what, though? You don't know it. A lot of us think that, oh, nobody would care. That's probably not the truth. And there's guys that are in the chat of this show, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when we do the premiere at 8 o'clock. And you might not think it's a big deal, but like, I notice when you're not there. Like, I'm still like, where's Glenn Crossing? Where'd he go? I know Homanoia, his schedule's a little different, but I'm like, these are guys that were in the chat regularly, and I'm like, but where'd they go? But like Patrick, Orange Garrett, Gray Garrett, Rojas, the two Marks, God, now I'm gonna forget something, DA Davis. Like, if I don't see y'all, I'm gonna be like, where are they? And I'm terrible. I'm so sorry if I like forgot somebody, because I'm sure I did, but those are just ones that I see in the chat regularly. Dragon's Talon comes in, and I'm like, oh, good, there he is. Because I worry, So you might not think it's a big deal, but I notice when you're not there, and I appreciate the comments that you make, and I've learned so much from all of y'all when you say how you've been affected, or you drop a Bible verse, or what have you. What is Rojas? He's our spiritual, our religious janitor or something. I forgot what we deemed he was. That was funny. Raymond, yeah, you're in there every time, and I appreciate all of you guys, and I know that it might seem overwhelming to watch Dwayne talk and think, well, God, I'm so far away from having 7 children and a wife who loves me and a ranch and all that. And it might seem like, oh gosh, well, I'll never have that. And that's the sad state of things. I am sure Dwayne knows how lucky of a man he is. But even so, even if, you getting to the top of Mount Everest, if that's what Dwayne has done, having raised 7 children and have the family and have the ranch and all the rest of it, it doesn't mean you just never take a step, And I think that all the men will be so much better off inside if they listen to men like Dwayne. And I definitely think that our country and the West will be better off, because as the left as we have progressed, away from lifestyles such as Dwayne's, everything has gone downhill. As we've become more cityfied, as we've become more urban, as we have lost touch with these simple truths, the simple beauty of life, we have lost, we've become unhappy, and people are miserable. So I think returning to that as much as possible, even if, like I said, it's the simplest things of like when you're at the grocery store and you see somebody and they seem a little down, brighten their day with some kind words. It makes a difference, And everything he was saying about being quiet reminded me of the back of my phone case, because I got one to remind me of that sort of mentality and how important it is. And it's the verse Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. And for the longest time, I was like, be still and know that I am God. And I was thinking of it. And I think I was missing something, because I was not focusing on the be still. I was focusing on, remember, no, know that he's God, know that he's God. But I wasn't thinking about the be still. Like Dwayne said, sit down. Sit down. It's like one word in the country tide. Sit down. It's like, stop. Shush. And then you'll know. And that came to me in the last couple of weeks. It was like, oh, if I can just make myself still, that's when I know. And I hope that makes sense. And that's just kind of like a personal thing of mine that I've been thinking about the last several weeks. And when he was talking about being quiet, it just reminded me of that. Because this is, to me, this is what masculinity looks like. This is what Christianity looks like. This is what family looks like. And am I biased because he's a horse trainer? Probably a little bit. It makes it, well, in the way he thinks because he's a horse trainer, obviously all makes sense to me too. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. If you're new to Dry Creek Wrangler School, I hope you're as excited as I am about this man's videos and the fact that he exists and there's probably at least one more like him. It just, it gives me hope. Gives me hope. So, oh, I mean, it seems redundant to say it after we've watched Dwayne, but make sure you protect your peace. Definitely feed your souls. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.